is ready, and then we're gonna jump in. Man, this has been absolutely incredible. I cannot wait to see more. Can we
That
get
is
that
so
VR out of
broken.
Vincent Higgs, right? Can we get that VR
This
out of Peter
dominated maybe
Boyo?
the
Could Booga come out, surprise us all with
Hey,
crazy,
this
and
what's
get
up in the
one
layoff?
as
1,000
well?
people.
Oh my gosh, so many stories. This heat is absolutely packed. And I can't believe it. 4 more games. Guys, we have 4 more games to go.
That's right. I mean, we've already had 30 teams punch their way into the FNCS Grand Finals. And now we get to add one more to that. 31. We have 14 to go for today. And then, of course, we have the last chance qualifier, Zeke. 5 more teams being able to make their way into the Grand Finals by the last strand of chance. Who's it going to be, Zeke? Well, we got to still figure out who 14 are going to go through today.
Let's find out right now, Kelly. Games are ready. So, casters, take it away.
I spoke too soon yesterday, Jacob. You know, I thought we saw the play of
And
2026.
you know who winning?
Yamzo
No
shows
one
up,
knows.
like, give us a second, monster. We got E3 here, and it's getting really exciting now. Let's jump on the bus for game number 2.
I'm not sure what can match that type of height in that last game, but I thought that after Bolt's clutch, I thought that after Veno went crazy. Now it's Yamzo's turn, and we still have 14 more teams to qualify to the FNCS Grand Finals here today. But now that Josh and Yamzo have qualified, Frigid Fortress is now up for grabs.
And this is not a bad drop by any means, right? It's got everything you quite literally need. And they had the whole drop to themselves, right? You saw it in the last round. I mean, they got super looted, then went for that little bit of middle off to that north outpost, and they were very much set up. I'm curious to see who is going to go ahead and step in and take that drop here now that it's opening up. Jumping in over at the Humble Hills, you can see teams are now just starting to touch base, get situated here in game number 2. Early action happening on the other side though. Kiffy and Feya, this is a fight. In the last game, it went quite the distance, deep into the storm and then far north towards the Sandies. So this time we'll see if Proxy and Tenya can put up a better fight, maybe somehow escape the wrath of Feya and Kiffy. They did a relatively good job defending themselves last time, and seems like Feya and Kiffy are a bit passive here.
Yeah, and it looks like history might repeat itself, because remember that last time a third party came in, interrupted the fight, and that's exactly what's happening here. In the minimap, you see a third team rotating in, but Kiffy, Feya, they were at least, they get one of those 2 eliminations. And Tenya almost fully boxed up. He has one wall trying to protect himself, and it's not going to work. They break into the box, they get the full wipe, but this is Waffle, this Aiden, they're already here, and they don't want to give them a chance to heal up.
Actually got lucky that Feya wasn't the one tag there. We don't really know how weak he is just yet. Now, definitely the information's gotten across the table. Oh no, it's not looking good for Kiffy and Feya. They are both very weak. Aiden owns the wall. Little missed edit there is going to lose him a chance to get the quick elims. And now another team's coming in. Depending on how long Kiffy can just play a bit more defense, maybe they can survive, but no. He goes down first. Here comes the new team now standing right on top of them, and Feya has a little opportunity possibly to escape here. But no, Waffle Joe, Aiden are hot on his heels here. They don't let him escape at all. They get the elimination and the full finish. And look at this. Zifta and Slam, who are just walking on up here. Void watch from distance, listening. We knew that they like to play those huge surge towers, but you can't resist a good fight either.
I was thinking to myself, wait, I think I've seen this before. They're now the 4th party coming in, and good job for Aiden and Waffle to spot that out after the last second. They were able to build, they box up, just kind of making them rethink that situation. You can see there's a huge chunk of shield missing onto Slam, so you already know they don't have the resources to get that shield back. So we tune in. Carillion's down. Oliver trying to get the revive, and he saves the day. That's one of our contested fights on the north side of the map.
Very good. Right before that,
And that's why in Alena, okay.
So they seem to be winning their off-spawn contestation very comfortably now for 2 games here. Peterbot Boyo, huge amount of points earned, clearly coming out of that first game there. Now I wanted to say, man, it was all Boyo's fault. You know, I know we're giving Yamzo the big clutch, but it's Boyo who put Clicks and Higgs in that shambles position to begin with. He was just playing absurdly well. Look at this.
Didn't thin out the lobby. I wonder if that first time that Peterbot and Boyo fought Logan, and his duo down there, maybe they're second guessing it. It might not be worth it. They already have their POI uncontested, and they get the gas station with the slurp truck just outside of it as well. So they have a ton of loot. Just don't need to be greedy in this situation, especially with a big solo clutch by Pollo to kind of keep them in line with a lot of the other teams that are performing well today. It's Taki landing some good damage onto Hazard and Chaotic. Just kind of accumulating that Storm Surge, so that one less thing to have to worry about as the game progresses. But landing over at Riptides, they were able to get that mythic Iron Pump. One of the few weapons in the game right now, Monster, that can one-pump anybody, even if they're full health and shield.
Super powerful in the right hands. Taki, obviously a veteran here. Just to add to that Logan, like the Logan Peterbot dynamic, I think it's the opposite. I think Logan's like, hey, I can't believe we won that. I'm 1-0. Let's just stay away. We know what they're trying to do now, and we managed to survive the storm. So I think they're actually avoiding catastrophe by playing even further out from Peterbot and Pollo. We'll see if they end up clashing before the day's over. Jumping back with Zune and Noisy, though. We have Noah Blaze and Carbone just on their defensive stance right now. They're opting to play the low ground. Don't like what I see on the material count for Noah and Carbone. Seems like things are looking a bit rough here for them.
Have to be careful. This is another team just south of Sandy Strip. You can already see it in the mini-map. He's hearing the noise. He's getting a little curious here. This is something he can land one shot, maybe jump into the box, take advantage. Carbone and Noah Plays playing the low side of this entire fight, boxed up, making sure they have full control over their pieces. And this is a tough situation for Noah and Carbone. You can see their material count drastically low for being at this point in the game. So the longer they stay here, the less chances they're going to be able to accumulate anything. But I did see it in the feed. Higgs did get a drop onto 1-2 players with Oliver and Carillion. So that game-saving play to start the day might not mean so much with the aggression coming out from Clicks and Higgs, but he takes a huge shot, drop down to 60 HP. That's going to allow for Higgs to try to get a little bit of pressure here. Allow for Clicks to heal up and not allow for Carillion to do the same.
There's another set of points earned there for Higgs. Dance on Oliver and Carillion there. So they might have won the drop, but unfortunately Clicks and Higgs have a strategy of their sleeves to rotate north and take it down. That's going against the storm as well. Zypta, Void Slam, come on in, and they find themselves that elim that they've been looking for here on the edge. This time, though, it is unfortunately going to be Noah Plays and Carbone. And they show up just in time, too, right? Noah and Crew had great amount of heals, as you can see here, but they did not have the material count to really stand things out. Look at how it ends up playing out. They walk right up to the wood walls, catch them completely off guard there, and just make it quick.
Yeah, they weren't even the originators in that fight. That was the team I told you from south of Sandy Strip, hearing the noise, rotated in. They played that lurk perfectly, not to just get one, but both of those eliminations. Even if they don't get a lot of loot, it's the Storm Surge, I think, that's most important for that situation. As Cole and Madden trying to get out of Frigid Fortress. They land just north of the actual POI, east of the mountain where Oliver, OG, and Carillion land as well. It's a little bit of a split drop. They don't necessarily get a chance to get all of their resources, so they kind of stop places along the way to make sure they have the mats maxed up for the end game.
See how it's going to be looking now. So we're jumping on over with Booga. We'll update with Craze here. Playing a bit of a cheeky spot. You could call this a little lurk, if you will. Let's see if anyone's going to be walking by. Yep, they find Ties here in his duo. Couple tags set them up, but no knocks, nothing fancy to really give them the reason to push here just yet. Time to rotate out.
I was gonna see great play for them. Again, Booga crazed. They got a good feeling of how each other wants to play. They just kind of position toward the bush for Booga. They're not necessarily trying to all out 50-50 fight,
one up
eliminations here. He's just trying to build up the win, so that way he can make the rotations he does.
It's time to win
players,
one,
as the IGLs, he likes to make far and slow rotations and get in
and
on
after
that
that,
of the zone overall. And right now, with the zone pulling towards the west, he's staying towards south of Battlewood. He might be trying to do that same thing here.
You saw what Booga does in the end game. This is really where he starts to shine. He's not a flashy mid or early game player. He tends to pace himself very well, but end game, the tarping, the fighting, right? Like the game sense really kicks in. You can see that experience start to shine through. Taki and Void continuing to have their strong performance. See what they can make happen here. A little update with their loadout situation. I mean, you talked about that mythic shotgun. It's looking very, very good for them right now. And they're just turning this whole entire building inside out. So they'll have plenty to work with, especially if the zone ends up continuing to pull this way.
And I know most people might already know, but at Riptides is one of the only places you can actually get that mythic shotgun. Just like Wonky Land has its little mini game, there's like a wait at Riptides that takes a long time to lift up if you're just going straight for it. But there are 6 different stakes around the POI. If you eat at least 3 of those, it'll make it to reduce that time so you can almost open it up like a chest. It's not a guaranteed mythic iron pump, but it's definitely high chances. And so far, 2 for 2 games, they were able to get it.
Yeah, I remember when this season dropped and I saw a clip of someone trying to lift that or like play that mini game. I was like, what is going on? This is Fortnite. Like, for real. Look at that ozone. Golden here. It's a little bit of high ground over Craze and Booga. Pop shots going out, but Booga and Craze again playing for that dead side rotate. You can see there's really not too much resistance on the western side at the moment. A couple teams are on their heels, but Craze just waiting for an opportunity to do something here.
50 damage just like that from Paper and Rezi. It's gonna connect. Just kind of caught out. We're going over towards Humble Hills. So where Paper and Rezi are now and where they have to go, you see there's different elevation changes and they have to go directly into a team that's positioned on the mountain. Towards their west, you see Booga and Craze and they're kind of just trapped in the middle. We saw Paper before the rotation take 50 damage. There goes Rezi taking over 100 damage. So this is putting Paper and Rezi in a position to where they might have to fight later on in this game or maybe even right now depending on what they're at in Storm Surge.
Continue to take their time. Clean rotates here all through the valley. On the other side, though, take a look at the fight going down right now. We already knew the warnings were coming out. It's going to force players to battle, but the Vayne and Wave, man, having quite the tough game, too. They're 160 below, 81 players standing, so quite a fair stretch before the Surge is going to turn off here.
Not gonna be easy at all. Again, they're just rotating in the direction of where all players are already positioned on different mountain ranges. Even if they're not on an actual mountain range, they got a surge base, so not gonna be very easy to rotate in, especially if you don't actually do have the shockwaves. For Clicks and Higgs, you see the zone pulling on over towards the western side of the map. We saw early rotations in game number 1. In game number 2, they're sticking to their strategy over here at Wonky Land. They go ahead and build up on that Ferris wheel. And I talked about 2 different rotations, and already you see they're building up towards the top of Wonky Land. This is where you can glide in, use the different effects with the fizz, with the actual shockwave as well. There's another one, a secret one, where if you use that full combination and you go through the Ferris wheel, that launches you so far, and if you can combine that with the different rifts that are on the map with low gravity, it extends how far you can actually go. You can almost cover the whole distance of a map in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, definitely one of the stronger strategies that are available right now, and that's what makes Wonky such a powerful drop, right? And in the hands of Clicks and Higgs, we'll surely see it before the finals is up. For now, they've earned a lot of points in that game 1, right? So like one more end game like that, and regardless if you get the dub or not, I think they'll be just fine. They seem to be playing exceptionally well. Think about Chimpy and Liam here.
I think they did pretty well in terms of Storm Surge in that last game. It's just right now 21 above. They realize they can be comfortable here, position themselves where they need to be, but in the back of their mind, whether if it's this zone or the next, they need to start getting damage because they eventually will fall under the damage threshold if they sit where they're at now. Could be similar for Lawrence and Joe, 231, but they position themselves on the edge, so any team rotating in from either Wonky Land, Scribbly Shores, maybe a little bit towards the south, it's going to give them ample opportunities like this, a little bit of a wide edit, so they have a clear view on players trying to use shockwaves to get in.
Comes to the other side, though. Look at this. Crazy Booga finding their little position in the action here. He's going to go ahead and take a couple of those slices of pizza, get his HP right back up and into the mix. And there's some options of loot to pick from here, but the fact that they're not pouncing at the opportunities is showing us that they're being very cautious and they really are concerned with the Storm Surge right now. They've done just enough to stay in the game here. Talk about those smart rotates, trying to play dead side, and it all pays off right here as the zone ends up landing right on top of him. Here comes the reinitiation. This is a very smart fight, right? Not waiting for the surge to kind of give them the warning, but instead knowing that, hey, there's definitely danger nearby. The rest of the lobby recognizes what's happening too. A bit of pressure coming from different angles here, so they kind of ease up right now, but they will have to find some fights here shortly.
Yeah, and depending on how much damage they took from the double lobby spray, they might have to fight the next best team, which would be Booga and Craze. Enpin and Jack off was suffering the Storm Surge, but only 5 below the damage threshold. This is where you're kind of threading the needle here. Do you go for a big play, a shotgun shot in the box, or you just try to stay far away? But at this point in time, everybody is rotating, and even if you find yourself above like they are now, they have to rotate too. So it's only going to get harder and more dangerous as they continue to push forward on this next rotation. And timing is definitely of the essence because they are in a current active 5-tick zone.
Yeah, and you can see that although they went to the Dark Dominion for that extra loot, it was going to be their biggest mistake as the zone pulls back across the Peterbot. Meanwhile, just doing what he does, man. Finding the important eliminations at the tail end, I would say, of the mid game, early end game now, and that's going to really reward them with the maps that they're going to need to play well here. Clicks Higgs already positioning up in metal. This is a sign that they're looking to base down and stay completely out of sight for a little bit here. Look at that, 550 above. They're playing very, very well. And again, from one highlight to another, Jacob, Peterbot continues to do what he does here. Fullberry Mist is going to keep him alive. Storm does the rest for him. And I mean, they already were 5-5-5 cap, and then they get the follow-up finish there, and they're just sitting on an abundance of loot there.
Yeah, just got to be careful there because they did a good job of getting the elim, but they traded shots. They only went 40 up in terms of Storm Surge. We jump on board Moxie along with Wolf, just trying to survive the lobby spray. 280 below the damage threshold. Shots pouring in from all directions, but they have to start to get active. They don't really have resources to heal.
Not looking good.
2 full eliminations worth of damage. So that's why they have to be persistent with the pressure on Nicole and Madden. But somebody just jumps up out of nowhere. Moxie lands the shot, but Wolf does go down, realizing you have to get more damage. Can't be the hero, can't go for the revive. Looking for whoever that was down below. Now Surge is activating, trying to take advantage of the actual shield, but just seconds too late, trying to get the box. Moxie and Wolf will fall.
So close right there to actually turning that one around, but that low ground shot was a huge surprise and just put her teammate down, unfortunately. Look at this though, Peterbot playing the late storm rotate as well. Booga goes for the early one here. He's gonna get front side of the beginning of the safe zone here. Crazy's here to back them out. They're already through most of their heavy material though. This is quite a situation right now.
Don't even necessarily need it. They already have the 2 eliminations. They're well above the damage threshold. But when opportunities like that come by, you don't let them slip through your fingers. Just accumulating more surge, more points for the actual eliminations. But Peterbot and Pollo, 3 eliminations onto Peterbot, who we know how he's getting those eliminations. He's trading big damage, so he's not necessarily going up the Storm Surge leaderboard overall. But a quick lobby spray in that direction. They're able to get 20 more damage to their totals, but they still have a long way to go and a rotation to make that's going to make it difficult.
Higgs is by himself right now, so actually lost clicks on that rotate even after getting that elimination there. That was only their 3rd elim here in the game, so clicks now just has to watch here from the sideline. Higgs goes all in on this player here, and look at the speed at which he was about to actually find that elimination, but that player just barely slips away. The Storm though is on the edge. There's the finish. I think he even had a little bit of surge pressure there too, so
I don't know how much put me on because they
well played for him.
one not
breaks out
working.
the outside now, and here he goes to the new zone. We've seen Higgs every highlight now just playing the mist kind of effect into a shockwave here. There's just so much happening here in this end game.
Yeah, just trying to get to the front side of the zone as solos is a necessity. It's King and Aviv finding crucial eliminations here. You can see King from 20 builds to 60. He just got stacked off of that elimination, plus the heals that they're able to get. And for Aviv and King, remember, they won 2 different games in one of the eval finals. And I'm the guy that's thinking, what have you done for me lately? So hopefully they continue that hot streak here today. Taki and Zeke trying to break into the box. That team's going to go ahead and disengage on out, giving priority on this rotation to Taki and Seek as they make their way towards the front. High ground early on, Muss and his duo up above, and this is where we're going over mountains. Some recycled builds, Monster, so it's not going to be easy opportunities for them to get elims.
Yeah, talk about light builds though. Look at this. Booga, Craze already running out. They're forced to kind of play this mid-ground layer. They're just trying to rat across, right? Break into enemy builds, see if they can find someone waiting there, but no, Booga actually gets caught off. Meanwhile, Higgs is playing the Storm right now. They get spotted out. Higgs is using that effect to bounce all the way out and around.
Damn.
And this is something you rarely see a rotate like that, but Higgs
up
is
and
just
up,
so
not play.
smart at reading the Storm right there. Excellent map knowledge, excellent awareness of the builds that are available as well, and the ability to play around it. And this is why he's clutching up points right now.
Yep.
Yeah, Praise was trying to do
Boot
the same
it on.
thing. Got a couple of extra placements, but wasn't able to pull it very far. So now it's really up to Higgs. And this is something, when they first formed, Clicks and Higgs were looking good. They went through a little bit of a drought where they were forced to solo clutch each of them. And I think Higgs is one of the guys that can pull up a lot of points by himself. Peterbot and Poyo using the shockwave merely for the effect. He's trying to get towards the front. High ground has to dip down. You got to wonder what their builds. As light as Higgs picks up another elimination here, finding some struggles, actually picking it up, but he hits another haymaker, but eventually he gets flanked, taken down, sent back to the lobby.
Peterbot and Poyo actually found 2 as well, and Poyo goes into the Storm, trying to bring back some heals, but unfortunately couldn't find enough there. So Peterbot desperately low right now, still fighting on the edge. Meanwhile, you have Golden and Ozone, 5 Elans right now, cooking up in the mid layer as well. There's a lot happening on the low ground though. Everyone I see down there is just in shambles here. And we'll see as it plays over this water terrain. This is only gonna get more and more difficult here. No one is looking really healthy at this given time. This is gonna just be a full-on blender fest coming up.
Yeah, nobody's really solidified themselves as the high ground.
Poyo.
That one got chopped down. Poyo does it again. I'm already getting that feeling of deja vu, but that one shortly ended. Muss returns to the scene of the crime. He was the one on high ground, ran out of build, gets the back-to-back, and puts himself right back on top. High ground here is so important because look how in shambles everybody is down below.
I'm telling you, when you just look at the builds, no one's got anything, but Madden is living off the siphon in a dream right now. Although he's a solo, everyone might as well be one as well, because no one's got build. It is now a solo, a 1v1v1. Madden's on the low ground. Winner takes all and goes to finals here, Jacob.
A lot of pressure, but Lulu already got 2. He took down the only duo left in this game, but now he's in a 1v1. Gets the control, gets the piece, and he gets the elimination. 1v1. All that work for this against Muss, who takes that first tick of Storm damage. Nobody really has a huge lead here in terms of HP, but Muss fighting tooth and nail, not giving up. The chomp is in. Lulu gets the elimination. 8 eliminations by himself and a trip to the grand finals. Congratulations.
I already knew. I knew something crazy was going to happen when you start looking at the builds, look at the total effective HP, and you're on the low ground, and no one's got anything. That's how that game's going to crumble there.
I'm dumbo.
Wow. Dude, these games in Heat 3 have just been so chaotic.
You know,
when we're
you mean
down to a
only 2 teams because 2 teams not well.
What is happening in these games? But shout outs to the duo Along and Lulu. Lulu coming in clutch, 8 elims. Now they're going to be making their way to next weekend's finals, Kelly.
I mean, when it comes down to Heat, it is all about chaos because it's all about the desperation, Zeke. Everyone wants to make sure that they do not have to go through that last chance qualifier where everyone from Div 1 to Div 5 has that chance to make it through. No, this is where they want to go through, and that is exactly what Alongo FM and Lulu have done today.
That is exactly their destination now, grand finals. And I gotta tell you guys, I've been saying it all weekend, every single time it happens, this is gonna be the first time for both Alongo and Lulu that they're gonna be making a trip to an FNCS grand finals. And in what fashion? That is incredible. As you can see right here,
how much team vote up in CI?
That was top 11 as a solo. Who knows how far back
EU
this
and NA
actually went.
so much new fucking team.
Kelly kind of mentioned it. MDF was constantly calling it out. Nobody had any mats, and somehow the refreshes that just kept getting found inside of the Storm just kept the push going here for Lulu. And I gotta tell you, Kelly, the shots that some of our players make, right? Builds are breaking, you have the high ground, you're getting dropped down. Like, how is the last shot possible? I swear, I used to play this game professionally, and sometimes I'm like, wow, incredible stuff.
With the launch up 2 to take high and get the final elimination.
The
Lulu
fuck
1
up?
for 8 is definitely feeling good right now, Zeke.
Wait,
oh
that.
my gosh, stunned on that lobby for no reason. Okay, well, for the duo, they'll be making it to the finals. I'm excited to see what they might be preparing this week and what they might be looking to bring to that finals lobby, because the summit awaits. I cannot wait. Oh my gosh. Okay, right now we're gonna go to a break. When we come back, we'll start to prepare ourselves for game number 3. So we'll see you real soon. Welcome back, Fortnite. The FNCS game number 3 is right around the corner, but in case you missed out on game number 2, we've got to talk about some of the crazy plays that happened. A lot of things, of course, surrounding Peterbot and Pollo. Once again, Kelly, Pollo gets put in a solo clutch situation and nets a bunch of points for the duo. I'm just saying, people better put some respect on my boy Polo.
Listen, people will say pollo means chicken in Spanish. So how can this be this, you know, this powerhouse, this staple of the NAC region? But chickens are the closest related relative to the Tyrannosaurus
American
Rex.
eagle.
And if you look at chickens compared to humans, they outnumber humans 1 to 4. So the next time you want to go up against someone and you want to fear the chicken, that is a good fear to have, because pollos are dangerous, and Pollo once again proves it here at NAC.
All right, I think Kelly's going with the strength in numbers philosophy right now, but I think Pollo's going the exact opposite route, right? He's proven time and time again he doesn't need a teammate. I mean, yeah, maybe to like get him to the end game, that obviously helps. But once he's there, Pollo constantly showing up with these solo clutches. Not before though. I mean, Peterbot, obviously we know him. He's gonna pick up some eliminations before he goes down. But right now, doesn't look like Peterbot and Pollo are gonna be winning any of these games. They're kind of just going for some sort of elimination record because they cannot let go of that W key, constantly finding themselves in some sort of a fight, no matter what point of the game we are in.
9 elims, right? My goodness, they are going crazy. Yeah, I feel like sometimes they could just get themselves a win, or sometimes they could just terrorize the lobby and put everyone else on notice. Another duo that did well, obviously, Clicks and Higgs. I mean, we're seeing them perform. They haven't quite gotten to that same like place we did last game, right? Where they had height and everything was good. We saw, you know, a couple mistakes here and there, but again, it's just these lobbies, right, Kelly? They're so chaotic, and you know, if this was a finals, you might be able to have some kind of plan, but heats, man, it's just a different story.
And I think especially like you're saying, when it comes down to heats, you're going to go with the tried and true strategy. We know that Higgs especially loves to run the low ground. If you actually look at the play-ins performances, for this heat, he has the most builds placed. And that is definitely due to the fact of how he likes to run low ground, especially when you get into these later zones. He loves to push forward into Storm and build out multiple like boxes there to be kind of like stopping everyone else from pushing front zone from him. So I think that's kind of what we're seeing Higgs and Clicks kind of fall back into, less so going for the high ground and more so going for that control of the front zone.
I mean, just tough break there for Clicks as well. I swear, anytime you tune into like a healthy one of our top teams throughout this season, right? And they're having like a healthy game. They try to make some sort of a rotate with those overdrive grenades, and they combine it with the mist. You're just in the air for so long, you know what I mean? You can get beamed out so easily. I feel like it just happens so much this season. So many of your teams good at aiming, and they're well aware of those rotates. But yeah, tough break there for Clicks. Higgs still goes on to pick up a couple points as a solo, so they're still going to be, you know, fine in terms of the consistency standard.
I mean, Higgs also, you saw the very moment, that last moment there right before he was eliminated, he dropped 170 over onto Peter, right? So that might have been what led to Peterbot ultimately going down and Pollo having a solo clutch. So it's crazy that even when he goes down, he's going down swinging. Oh my gosh. We also saw another duo I don't myself know too much about, Muzz and Liquid. In that last game, Muzz was left as a solo, but man, they were moving and grooving.
No, we say, you know, multiple times during the heats of the competition that we love this opportunity for some of these lesser known teams to kind of get this opportunity to shine. And what better way to shine than all the way on high ground for Liquid and Muzz FB? Just a handful of eliminations and making sure that once high ground was kind of contested, they did a pretty good job trying to recover, trying to drop down a little bit, and even being able to still hold high ground as a solo player. Muzz definitely proved themselves here in heat number 3.
Yeah, fully thought Muzz honestly had this right, because I knew, yeah, the build count on the side of Muzz was just so healthy compared to pretty much the rest of the lobby at this point in the game. I think when we tuned into him in one of those final moments, he had like 80 builds available. So I was like, oh yeah, definitely got this. And that would have been their first time in grand finals as well. So no matter who won that 1v1, we were getting first timers in the grand finals. But hey, a controlling height game like that from the duo, that's going to be boosting the confidence. And I mean, obviously, yeah, you didn't get the win, but getting that second place and some eliminations, that does so well on the leaderboard. So they're going to be up there in the top of the leaderboard as well.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, guys. 30 seconds left before we get the ball rolling again. What are we thinking, Kelly? You know, we kind of had this discussion at the start of show. High ground. Are we seeing enough players look up? That was kind of the big thing you called out. We need to just be looking up and not let that happen.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, between the names that we're seeing that are actually controlling high ground right now, it definitely seems like no one is afraid to look up. And I think that is perfect right now. But for me, I want to see some of our bigger names take that high ground and turn it into a win.
Okay, we'll have to see if that happens here. Game number 3 is ready. So casters, over to you.
This is that pivotal halfway point, game number 3, where it really kind of controls your destiny and really decides how much control you have over the rest of the game. Do you get to play freely for the win or placement, or do you have to go for the win? Right now, Monster, that threshold is 63 points.
Yeah, I feel like we've been very distracted by the fact that these wins have been so good, so explosive, and honestly extremely entertaining. But we do have to start focusing on who is in that race like you're talking about here, Jacob, because yeah, it does matter playing consistent as well.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where you kind of look at the games go by, you just try to get as close to the top of the leaderboard as possible, not save it for that last and final game, because we saw yesterday literally points differentiating who goes to the grand finals and who doesn't. Game number 3 is ready, so let's just jump right into it.
All right, game 3 now is kicking off here. So what have we seen so far? A lot of endgame action, big teams, of course, popping up and showing up when it matters most. But to drive that story about consistency, you have to win your drop spot first. And this is where you still have a chance to turn things around, right? Game 1, game 2 are out the window. But if you do well in 3 like solid games back to back, you can still be in the conversation. Talk about that Frigid Fortress that opens up after Yamzo's victory there. Take a look at this. You even have the likes of Paper and Resi landing here, really getting desperate, I see.
Yeah, almost everybody that's landing here at Frigid Fortress now chose to stray away from a contested fight. Lo and behold, it becomes triple contested. Worse situation than there was before. A fight over towards 4 fields. Proxy, Kenya versus Fea and Kiffy. Early lead already going down as Kenya is going to be the first one dropped. 2v1 situation, but Kiffy makes the play by himself, saving the day. And it's much quicker this game than every other game so far, negating any possibility of a third party sneaking up on you.
Yeah, it's only gotten faster so far, and I think they recognized that last game. I called it. I was talking about how passive they were and kind of taking that initial engagement. It seems like they've learned, but look at this, Peterbot Boyo. What are you guys up to? What are you doing here?
We're playing musical chairs right now because I don't see Clicks and Higgs anywhere in Wonky Land. Peterbot, Poyo, we kind of all knew some sense of this might go on. There's like, I don't know
what
if it's a
the
personal
fuck?
beef, in-game beef between Peterbot and Clicks, but the two biggest names in Fortnite right now constantly going head to head. Peterbot and Poyo looking to contest their drop, but guess who has a 9,000 IQ? Higgs making the call, say, hey, this might be the game. They go over and steal this Squibbly Shorts drop spot to make sure that they are uncontested.
There's no way they can read them that well, though, right? Like, Peterbot and Boyer surely can't be that predictable that Clicks and Higgs are just, you know, that far ahead of them mentally when it comes down to the strategy.
Going off by previous heats, I think it was around like 145 or so. The points kind of get towards if you're looking to make it in through consistency. Clicks and Higgs about 30 points away. That's like a top 10 in this game. And they'll be sitting safe for the rest of the tournament, or at least you'd think so. But how this game goes, they have to change up their strategy, whole different drop. They're going to prioritize rotating in, not even necessarily looting their POI. They're probably in the back of their mind, they think Peterbot and Poyo knows we're not at Wonky Land. They're probably going to key the next place they think, which would be Squibbly Shorts. Craze and Booga remain uncontested, but this time around the Battlewood Boulevard gets a little bit of a boost. You get an extra percent chance of the rare chest dropping and a little bit more gold. So for Booga and Craze, they might be eating good this game.
Ready, safe.
Yeah, most definitely. We've already seen them pretty well positioned. I mean, last game they had somewhat of an issue with Surge, but that was the later half of the end game, not necessarily early on. Finding their success in the fights. We talked about successful battles. Of course, Ozone and Golden we saw there, getting their hands a little dirty in that end game too, before falling around zone 7 or so, but what's happening here? We'll fight. Cynics is in the box. He's gonna go ahead and clutch this one out, win his ones, and just like that, Painted Palms is now theirs, but there's another team or two watching what's happening as Tragic lurks up into the box.
I feel like this game is moving at a much quicker pace. You said it yourself, 2 other teams. Tragic thought they were the only ones lurking over in that direction, but they get a surprise for sure as Tragic gets down, trying to shockwave away. Vibes is there along with Cynics. They definitely turned the tables in an instant. They had no idea how many teams were there, but now it looks like they have a huge advantage trying to clean up that elimination, grab the body first, make sure they're able to get every scrap of the loot from this.
See it from the other POV here. Yup, that's the quick elim right there. It's a little confused why he shockwaved out the way he did, knowing that you just gave away your position to the team that you was on top of. But they're gonna be regretting that now. They didn't actually get the second teammate though, right? So he's still up.
Yeah, he kind of got saved though, because once that third party comes in, it kind of slows things down. That's percent on the side, but then there's another team, Carbone and Noah plays. They get flanked there for a moment. Percent barely surviving a whole nother duo, and it's just like, how long can you deal with pressure just like this? He's already at a reboot van, but it's so crowded. You almost got to continue going towards the north, towards the outside of the zone, and hopefully these guys get bored here and rotate in, because I'm not sure how many other reboots are near this location.
Yeah, I like how Carbone and Noah are like, oh, perfect, we're gonna be lurking this fight. Nope, there was 2 teams and the solo already doing the same exact thing. So just a lot happening there. Aviv tingling right now, back on over to the studios, just capping out material here. So see them farming this scaffolding for all the metal. Loadout's gonna be very strong. We haven't seen too much of a big performance them, you know, just yet in the end game. Clicks and Higgs though, adopting again a new strategy, if you will. Obviously mixing things up right now to avoid the pursuit of Peterbot and Pollo. They're gonna have to find a fight, right? They're gonna need to find some new damage here.
Yeah, typically you can kind of wait for Wonky Land. We saw in that last game, they're able to get the jump on Oliver OG and Carillion, waiting for them at the top of the mountain. This time around, they haven't had much practice or reps landing at this spot in a set lobby and having to rotate elsewhere to try to get damage. They did get, I believe, a pump or 2 in there, but they're just happy with what they got as they rotate on out. You can see the edge of the zone, so it's already pulling towards the north, a little bit towards the center. Sandy Strip just on the edge. This is where Power, Penta, they land and kind of hover over here on this side of the map. And they have the luxury as well. That blob, you're able to use that with the shockwave to cover distance quickly.
I like that. It said no mercy, no decaf. It's hilarious. Jumping with Goal's little high ground base here. Kind of editing through the cones to look around. Not a player in sight though. Just went off to the outskirts. Might even be his teammate there. Be Madden. Yep, that is Madden on the outside, just trying to cap material right now.
I have to imagine for Surge, this has got to be a little bit of a better game for them, because they went from Josh Niamzo at Frigid Fortress by themselves, and then they went to nobody really beating there, and then they went to a triple contested fight. So there's a lot of chances for them to try to get some Storm Surge with the way the map has changed up in each and every passing game. When we go back on over to this side of the map, Tragic, you see him in the background. He is rebooted, back on, ready to go. And we have another team, Aiden and Waffle. Typically, they would go towards 4 fields to get their early Storm Surge damage. Back-to-back games, they've third-partied it. But this time around, that fight ended so quick, they have to look elsewhere for their Surge.
Doing a good job so far. I'm walking up here, but spending a lot of time in the storm here for Yuki and Carlitos. They're going to have to back off and heal here shortly. I'll jump into with Vlex. Haven't seen too much of him on the evening. See it. So he's in a storm, skating around the outside as well.
I know it's still early. We still got this game to play out. We got game 4 and game 5, but again, the point threshold is around 63 points in terms of consistency. Light and Vlex, they're about 20 points ahead of the curve. So as long as they honestly continue to have not even necessarily the best, they don't even need first, second, third places. They just need to remain consistently in the top 8 to hold on to their spot. Definitely making it sound easier than it actually is, especially from what we witnessed not only today, but throughout the weekend so far. You jump on over to Dozier and Ishu, 6 games in the play-ins, the most of any team, and Tim, that's impressive. I know it's kind of like a different feel playing through opens than in a set lobby, but even the best of the best don't usually get 6 wins. It goes to show that they're practicing the blueprint, probably playing for high elim and high ground games.
Just thinking about yesterday's point cutoff as well, right? Remember how many teams had 175 points? And when you look at the overall lobby stats and you compare it to this heat lobby here, this set lobby, I mean, they're not too far off. So although the cutoff here is it's around the 60 range, that can change. That number can change really quickly, right? Depending on how the points begin to spread out and kind of funnel up towards the top here.
Huge part of that is depending on, like, if you're in game 3, game 4, top of the leaderboard, win a game, you essentially move that entire leaderboard up just a little bit. Kind of giving the other teams a little bit of a cushion, but the zone continues to pull towards the north side of the map. And this is where, hey, you might have made a decision to triple contest the Frigid Fortress, but if you were able to make it off spawn, if you were able to get a loadout plus materials and maybe some heals, you're likely positioned pretty well right now, so it might be a decision that works out for you in the end. As you go back on over to Light and Flex, they do pick up an elimination here, get a little bit of extra resources, but zone pulling away, which means they're on a clock here to figure out when and where they're going to start to rotate towards the zone.
Carlito's team, remember, they were the one that we saw really low on HP. The first to disengage from the lurk. And they had some heals to work with, but it seems like they spent a little too much time in the storm and they got caught out by Light and Flex there. Aviv and King here finding a couple elims when we looked away for a moment there. Make that 4 actually now. Sus Studios bringing the action here. Must have been teams coming for these vending machines or something nearby because they are swimming in loot right now.
Some extra med kits, big pots. How did they get so much gold? Well, they already have 3 elims. Yep, exactly what you said, Monster. Trying to visit that mending machine. No, there are so many on the map. This one is ours. That's what Aviv is putting down right now, making sure to cross anyone off their list that looks to go and move through Sus Studios. Sandy Strip just outside of the POI. Again, you can see a lot of players slow to rotate in this time around, and rightfully so. We see how chaotic the mid portions of the game are when you're actually inside of the zone. So a lot of these teams are trying to dodge any risk of taking damage.
See it though. Obviously using their chug jugs right now. Probably gonna end up leaving this one behind here, swapping for someone else. Hold up, Peterbot, Boyo in a bit of a fight right now. Boyo's definitely damaged, but he got the exchange here. He's got a knock. And Peterbot's stepping up to finish the deal. He's doing exactly what he needs to, just giving them a little bit of time to work with. And how's he still up? Just rolling in the box there, I'll never know.
His teammate already went down. Boyo pressuring from the bottom to try to make it a little bit easier for Peterbot to try to get that elimination shot off. But he realized, hey, this is Peter, this is Boyo. We can't stay in this position. I got a shockwave out if I have any hope of getting back into this game, and really did just catch him off guard. And that's been the thing we've seen from Peterbot and Boyo so far in some of their fights, is they do attack from 2 different sides, catching so many players off guard.
And that was with a third party shooting at him there too at the end. Somehow still managed to close it out, and that third party just thought twice after the Elam fell through for Curly and Oliver OG. Much better game for them after being eliminated early last game by Clicks and Higgs, but little drop spot between Peterbot and Boyo. Now Clicks and Higgs back here. Everything's ending and collapsing at the wonky land. It seems like we will likely get that engagement between the two. And who better than Clicks and Higgs to kind of play this end game out? But Peterbot and Boyo have already showed us that they know the strategies here. They know just as how to play this just as well, if you will.
Touch just outside of the Ferris wheel. Probably one of the highest positioned teams as of now. The mountain truly hasn't opened up on the north side of the zone. So for Clicks and Higgs, 155 above the damage threshold. Honestly, I don't think in terms of where they're at now in comparison to every other game they've landed wonky land, I don't think it's just too different. They're at their POI, they're above the damage threshold, they have a decent loadout, so it's almost looking like business as usual at this point in time for Clicks and Higgs. Madden and Cole really taking advantage of the zone, while other teams qualified out of Frigid Fortress. The mountain towards the north, Cole and Madden has been a staple on that side of the map, and they're quickly putting it to use, rotating quickly towards wonky land. They're not necessarily attaching themselves to that top mountain because majority of the lobby does believe that it is going to pull towards the south instead of towards the north.
Yeah, this is just all intuition now, right? All speculation, if you will. We don't know where the zone's going to go. It's gonna go north, so those that made the decision to play up there a little sooner instead of later gonna get rewarded here now. Crazy and Buga though get spotted out by Peterbot Boyo. The edit open there, and they immediately get punished for it. Surge is active here. giving the lobby the warning now. How far they need to go. Peterbot Boy, you have the luxury to move late here. And they can even use the boosted rotate if they really want to try to take some clean, high positioning. We'll see what they end up doing. It's a risk either way. Flurry on the other side, though, under some serious pressure below the surge. Damage coming through. Shots from the left and right sides. It's going to be Bobby. Picks up the quick Elim there, putting them at 2.
Good Elim for them, because it's not necessarily the 3 points that they're getting, but it's the Storm Surge that's really just been crushing dreams all weekend.
Wait,
long.
I don't know
400
this.
above. You can see the strikes of
When
lightning going off in the distance for players that might
Fortnite
not
what
have that
Peter
same
Bud
luxury,
win.
that same feeling of
Peter Bud
comfortability.
lane L.
Sticks and Higgs, they're
That's so
200
do
above,
L.
instantly position themselves in towards zone. Now they're looking back of every other team that either has to rotate in by foot or really taking advantage of those shockwaves being used. Waffle Joe taking the brunt force of that damage and focus overall. And this is where it's going to really start to get interesting, because if we pull anywhere else but the eastern side from here on out, we are good, Monster. If we pull towards the east on top of that mountain, you better buckle in, because it's going to be a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah, definitely. This one gets really steep here. For Higgs, I'm looking at his ammo count, though. It is not looking too good, man. They are starting to gas out early here. And that's what happens when you don't have your usual draw spot. You're trying to avoid Peter Boy for what it's worth. Meanwhile, Waffle, though, lost his teammate 480 below. It doesn't get worse than this. He is the lowest on the standings. But hey, the lobby gets the brief here, Jacob. It doesn't go east. It's going to come back south, right back into old builds.
Yeah, and depending on kind of how he plays this, there will be other teams trying to rotate first, beat him to the punch, but 400, he just doesn't have the time to wait. That's over 2 full eliminations. He tries to approach onto one, but gets flanked by a whole nother team. Down he goes, outside of placement, leaving it to the last 2 games of the day to try to pick up either a win or enough points to make it in through consistency. Peterbot and Pollo quickly rotating on over. Necessarily haven't had too many big worries in this match, but I don't know if they know that's Higgs or not, but they're ready to drop on top. Pollo ends up into the box. Big shots can be fired, but both of them being dropped down low to just a little bit of HP. Peterbot and Higgs need their teammates to alleviate the pressure, and that's exactly what Pollo's trying to do. Click's doing the same thing on the other side, and for now, the dust is settling. Both teams will live to tell the tale, since they still have to rotate towards the south in the next zone.
You gotta give respect
to
to excellent ambush.
stand.
Peterbot, I mean, Higgs' reaction was so fast to block out Peterbot just in time and actually make it a 2v1 and then a 1-to-1 head-to-head while, you know, the teams were kind of going back and forth. Tit for tat there in the engagement. That could have gone either way for both sides because it did not go as planned. But there you have it. That's what a high-level engagement looks like, right? When the 2 best of the best go toe-to-toe, you can see it is dangerous times here, and it costs you a lot. Pollo and Peterbot had already committed so much to, you know, bounced up to the high ground, make this strong structured base, and then play for a refresh right there. And for it to not go in their favor, now look, they're forced to low ground, trying to fight a different team, right? Because they are actually desperate now for a refresh.
Yeah, they're running out of builds, especially the way they play. They go crazy, grabbing every single piece. That's where they're trying to break into the box. So someone just trying to run away further and further, but they're quickly hot on the heels. The fact that nobody has even shot in their direction yet is huge, as they finally pick up that elimination onto Joe. Almost 400 above the damage threshold, but again, still, in comparison to probably where they want to be, they don't have a ton of materials, but it's rotating towards the south, back on over towards Wonky Land. They can go right back up to the high ground and try to solidify it as their own.
We were just talking about Aviv and King and managed to really get their groove going, kind of play into an endgame, and finally they're here, kind of situated now. But look at this, Peterbot, Higgs, Pollo, all going back to back now, clashing once again here for the high ground, but Higgs forced to concede it to give it up. But Peterbot's got his number. He's pressuring down. They want to get this finish. They want that fight, but Booga and Craze are also here in the conversation. They're going to be the last one standing up top. And I don't even think they realize they're the team on high ground, right? All this action happening here. You see, you know, players chasing one another. It's only now they start to recognize, I think, that they're the team on top.
Yeah, I just got to be careful. I think they're being very, very cautious of the shockwaves, of the fizz. That can turn the tables in a moment's notice, especially if you get caught off guard. But Higgs and Clicks, they survive multiple onslaughts from multiple teams. Here comes another one as Higgs gets dropped down to less than 40 HP, trying to go ahead and maneuver around, waiting for Clicks and him to reunite, but it's not slowing down or stopping just yet. Peterbot and Pollo strike again. Down goes Clicks. Higgs is trying to survive, quickly gets on out, but he's burning through his materials. No extra
If
heal.
not
He's
them,
forced in another
Kid
solo
will
clutch
same
position.
fucking Zen.
It's crazy. So I'm just trying to think
I'm
to myself,
sorry,
how
Kid,
do they
but
keep on finding
you own
Higgs
this.
and Peterbot, right? Like, it's just like they
Because
have their
it's
number
Zen.
on
Only
them.
one will to the kid.
Peterbot, Pollo, though, bouncing right back in. Yes, sure, they might be low on material, but they're back to being healthy, and this is where they're hunting right now. And the amount of, you know, again, speed of which they're pushing through these players' boxes, they're not giving anyone a chance. They get another one now, and look at the momentum starting to surge in their favor. Now Peterbot has some mats to work with. Make it a little bit more as they catch another team on the outskirts.
Peterbot doing Peterbot things here, just taking names and just sending them right back to the lobby. You see them have interest, looking up for a moment, but they decide against it, continuously dropping down below. Higgs stuck by himself, but he's still figuring out a way to make it work. But now he's digging into the HP with the zone overtaking him, forced to fly forward. 2 builds left. Clicks, Higgs, they both need a miracle here if they're looking to continue to perform in this game, but he's going from miss to miss, hiding in the shadows until he's finally found out.
Yeah, but I'm looking at this outskirts now. You have Noxy here depending or deciding if he wants to possibly play for something big. Meanwhile, Golden and Ozone actually make a play for the high ground. It's going off that terrain, so it's actually a really weird one to play with, but they end up timing it just well enough that they secure the high ground. Peterbot gets knocked there in the side, and it's up to Pollo once again. Pollo has just been playing absurdly well today. He has been clutching up. You know, if you counted him out before, usually it's Peterbot we've talked about year in, year out, who puts on these solo performances. But now it's Pollo here today, who is just playing the best that we have ever seen, and it's only a Heats lobby.
Yeah, it's just going absolutely crazy. A teaser of what we could see, because over
One high
200
gun.
points, Monster. Even in the highest heat, they surpass that, and he does it yet again, clearing the bottom half of the lobby. It's almost smooth sailing for Golden and Ozone up
Someone
above,
cut
but
the
now
high
one's going to
gun.
drop, looking to play Disruptor. But you have to be careful. We've seen Siphon play a huge role in players losing heal off throughout the weekend. They cannot make that mistake. Booga and Craze out of build, but Booga gets an elimination. Siphon Matt's keeping him alive. The Siphon as well, making sure the HP stays relatively healthy for this next play. The only solo in the game, and he makes a play onto Ozone and Golden. The full chop is in, but he finally goes down, but he dealt so much damage to this lobby.
That might have been
That-
what Golden needed right there. A
that's
little
a good
refresh
thing
to go in and keep him in the
for
game.
Buddha.
Cole tries to go up and make a big play, but it's not
Buddha
going to be enough. He gets knocked first. Madden doesn't have health.
Nice.
And Ozone and Golden secure the victory royale there, Jacob.
Yeah, it was looking scary for a moment with Booga going up, cracks the shields, almost drops Ozone down by himself, but he finally gets cleaned up. Golden and Ozone clutch up the game to advance to finals. Zeke, Kelly, Vivid, what do you think of that?
It just gets more chaotic every time, doesn't it, Jacob? Every single time, I feel like, oh, it's gonna be just a nice, chill, calm game. Nope. Every single time. Shout outs to Golden and Ozone there. They had hype. And you know, thanks to Booga playing spoiler, running around, suddenly the tempo gets shifted. And on the other side, Golden and Ozone, as long as they're like, hey, we got hype, right, Kelly? We got hype up here. We gonna walk away with a win.
I mean, if you're able to hold down height, especially once you hit zone 11 and no one else is really looking up at you, you're pretty much a shoo-in to either get a top 5, if not the victory royale. And it looked like Ozone and Golden knew exactly what they needed to do in that situation. They saw just how chaotic the mid and low ground was. And so for them, it was all about just playing the high ground as standard as you can, Vivid.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of chops that came in, but they were able to sustain through them no problem. And Jacob kind of mentioned it, man. I was a little worried, Booga running around. It's like, man, if he only had like 10 more builds, how much more damage could he have dealt? But yeah, incredible run there from Golden and
what?
Ozone. Another one of those
What
games
Peter
where
Pot
yeah, I
said?
did mention that a couple of chops came in this later zone, right? Very, very late
Oh,
into the 11th zone and early in
not
the
read.
12th zone. But prior to that, it looks
Not
like they were
read
kind of
summon
just
out.
chilling, right? Playing that spray
Peter
role
Pot
where you're
Lennon
trying to
Uncut.
relieve the lobby of all of the materials so that way you can go ahead and win some of these final
And Bono.
engagements. But booking their ticket to finals from the high ground.
That's what I'm telling you. Kelly called it out. High ground. That's what we got to look, pay attention to, chop them out, or maybe we go up there ourselves. I don't know. Now, we do only have 2 games left to go. When we return after this short break, we'll take a look at the standings, set ourselves up for game number 4. So, we'll be right back.
Yeah, wait.
I would be surprised either. Wonky in Grants, at Poyo, at Razor, at Falcon Z Squad. Every time, doesn't it, Jacob? Every single time. I mean, do we believe it though? I feel like, oh, it's gonna be just
No
a nice,
way.
chill. If the wheel doesn't get removed, how is Stack already got? Single time. The wheel doesn't get removed, we'll take it by force. And you know, thanks to Booga playing, it just paid to understand Gremlin. And I don't know. Now we do.
Wow.
Pete and Blood X like talk all the time. Like I swear they're like best friends. That's what I just don't get, man. Yeah, man.
Wow. That weird fucking, I can't wait.